The room was quiet, in a way that only exists when a group of people collectively realizes that something they believed in has just slipped beyond their reach. Not loud, not chaotic, not angry, just stunned. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish sat shoulder to shoulder, eyes fixed on a television screen that continued to talk about them as if they were no longer there, as if their season had already been folded away into a footnote. Analysts debated resumes and metrics, strength of schedule and head-to-head results, speaking with the detached certainty of people who would never have to sit in that room and feel what the players were feeling. And in that moment, when Notre Dame officially learned it had not been selected for the 2025 college football playoff, everything about the sport that feels brutally human was laid bare. That moment, raw and unfiltered, is captured by Peacock in the second season finale of Here Come the Irish, a scene that does not need dramatic music or clever editing to land its punch. It simply lets the silence breathe. The cameras don't rush to explain it away. They linger on faces frozen somewhere between disbelief and heartbreak. Helmets are nowhere in sight. Shoulder pads are gone. These aren't warriors in armor. These are young men who had poured months of their lives into a shared belief, now grappling with the reality that belief wasn't enough. As the final college football playoff rankings scroll across the screen, the discussion turns to Miami. The Hurricanes, who had beaten Notre Dame earlier in the season, are in. Notre Dame, ranked ahead of them in most previous iterations of the standings, is suddenly out. The reversal feels abrupt, jarring, and deeply personal to everyone in that room. You can almost hear the questions forming in their heads before anyone says a word. How? Why now? What more could we have done? Marcus Freeman stands among them, absorbing it all. As head coach, he carries the weight differently. He is not just processing disappointment for himself, but for every player staring at the screen, for every senior who knows there will be no next season in a Notre Dame uniform, for every staff member who believed this team had earned more. Freeman watches the analysts talk, watches his players sit in silence, and waits. When he finally rises to speak, it isn't with rehearsed answers or empty defiance, it's with honesty, and that somehow makes it heavier. "It is what it is," Freeman begins, the words sounding less like resignation and more like a pause to steady himself. "But what can we do? I keep reminding myself there's got to be a reason for this." His voice is calm, but there's a fracture beneath it, the kind that only comes when logic fails to keep up with emotion. He talks about disappointment, how it's something they all know too well, how usually there's a clear line between cause and effect. Usually, a coach can stand in front of his team and point to a play, a drive, a missed opportunity, and say, if we do that differently, this changes. This time, Freeman can't do that, and he doesn't pretend otherwise. "Guys, I don't have that answer for this one. Not yet. I don't have that answer for this one because it doesn't make sense." The words hang in the air, uncomfortably honest. It doesn't make sense. I feel awful for you all because I'm the person that's supposed to stand in front of you and say, I got the answer, and I don't have the answer right now. It's a rare moment in college football, a sport built on certainty and control, where a head coach admits he doesn't have the roadmap. Freeman doesn't deflect blame. He doesn't soften the blow with cliches. He acknowledges the pain for what it is. And then, slowly, deliberately, he shifts the conversation from what was taken to what cannot be. "Keep it," he says. "Keep the pain, man. Keep it. There's a reason why. We're in the middle of it right now." He urges them to be proud, not in a hollow way, but in a defiant one. Proud of the work, proud of the journey, proud of how far they came from the beginning of the season to its end. He tells them not to let anyone take the joy from what they accomplished, not the committee, not the critics, not the noise that will inevitably follow. "Don't give them that power," Freeman says, his voice rising now, sharper, more urgent. "Don't give them that power to take the joy in the accomplishments, what you guys did." He reminds them that the playoff has already been taken from them, but that doesn't mean everything else has to go with it. They already took the playoffs from us. They ain't taken that. They ain't taken that. They don't have that power. Then Freeman broadens the lens, pulling the moment out of college football entirely and placing it into life itself. He talks about blows, how life is full of them, whether you're 18, 22, or 40 years old. He punctuates the thought with a sound, almost like a drum beat. Bam! A blow. This, he tells them, is one of those blows. It hurts, it lands clean, but it doesn't define them unless they let it. They hit us with a blow. They ain't taken our joy. It's not a speech designed to go viral. It's not crafted for applause. It's a coach speaking to his team in the most vulnerable moment of the season, trying to give them something to hold on to when the one thing they wanted most has been stripped away. Around him, players nod. Some stare at the floor. Some clench their jaws. The pain doesn't disappear, but it finds a place to sit. The controversy surrounding Notre Dame's exclusion magnified the emotional fallout. For weeks, the Irish had been positioned favorably in the rankings, even with the head-to-head loss to Miami earlier in the season. The final decision, a late reversal that elevated the Hurricanes and left Notre Dame on the outside, sent shockwaves through the program. The athletic director lashed out publicly, criticizing both the ACC and the CFP process. Analysts and fans argued endlessly, turning Notre Dame into a lightning rod for debate about fairness, brand power, and the opaque logic of selection committees. Critics had their field day, supporters felt betrayed, and in the middle of it all were the players, who had no say in politics or perception, only in how they prepared and how they played. When Notre Dame declined the opportunity to participate in a bowl game, officially ending its season, it felt less like a snub and more like an exhale, a decision to stop pretending this ending wasn't what it was. That's what makes the footage in Here Come the Irish so powerful. It doesn't argue for Notre Dame's case. It doesn't relitigate the rankings. It simply shows the human cost of a decision made in a conference room far away from the locker room. It shows what it looks like when a season doesn't end with confetti or closure, but with unanswered questions and a deep, aching sense of what might have been. Over 6 episodes, Peacock's series has documented Notre Dame's season from the inside, capturing practices, meetings, road trips, and quiet moments rarely seen by the public. The finale brings it all into focus, not with celebration, but with reflection. It shows a program forced to confront disappointment head-on, without the usual distractions of post-season play to soften the blow. In the end, what lingers isn't the anger, or even the controversy. It's the image of a team sitting together, absorbing a truth they didn't choose, and a coach standing in front of them admitting he doesn't have all the answers, but refusing to let that be the end of the story. It's a reminder that college football, for all its spectacle and debate, still comes down to moments like this, where belief meets reality, and character is revealed not in victory, but in how a team handles the silence after the screen goes dark.